Hi, my name is Linda. I'm a stay-at-home mother of 3, and I've lived in Rockland County most of my life. Because I was concerned about pests in my house, I've invited a pest management expert to my home.
Linda, hi, how are you?
Pleased to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I'm Greg Bauman, Senior Scientist with the National Pest Management Association, and today we're going to debug your house. Now, you have a beautiful house here. There's no question about it. It's well maintained, it's built well. What we're going to do is we're going to incorporate the principles of something called Integrated Pest Management, or IPM. It's a process that looks at several different steps regarding pests and pest management. It takes a look at prevention and ultimately control, because we don't want these pests inside your house. So let's get started and start our inspection.
Okay? Sounds great.
You know what we're going to do today as part of this? We're going to talk about integrated pest management, and everything we do is going to be based upon integrated pest management, or IPM. We're going to call it IPM to keep it simple.
Okay.
IPM includes a couple different steps. First of all, you as a family determine what the threshold is. What's an acceptable level of pest for you? What do you think?
0.
0. So for most people, a threshold is going to be 0. The next step is you're going to monitor to see what kind of pests you have. Look for any signs of things that might be of concern and immediately take care of it. The third step is to prevent those pests. Maybe it means fixing screens, maybe it means sealing holes or caulking cracks in the foundation. And last, and certainly not least, is if you do have a pest problem, let's take the necessary steps to control it before it becomes a big issue. So those are the 4 basic steps of IPM. Okay. Should we move on?
Sure.
Okay. Many people don't realize that if you don't have a screen, that you just can't open the window and crack it a little bit, because that's a regular highway for a mosquito or a fly. I also see that you have some really nice landscape lighting out there. You have it positioned properly, away from the house but pointing to the house, because the insects are going to be attracted to the light itself, the light source. That means they're not going to be sitting on your house. And that's really good. Good design there. And I know that you didn't necessarily do it for insects, but it's doing a great job. Wow, what a nice kitchen. So
Thank
you
you.
have granite countertops, nice and clean. Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look big picture here, see if there's anything that concerns us.
Okay.
And everything's nice and clean. You have some fresh fruit and things like that. But probably about the only thing that's of concern really is going to be a plate here of leftover food. It just looks like a few crumbs from lunch, and that's very common.
That would be my husband.
It's very common. Summertime especially, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, it's very common to see knives that are covered with peanut butter and jelly, and that creates a buffet for ants, creates a buffet for roaches, creates a buffet for flies, and even, believe it or not, rodents. Because rodents come out at night after we've gone to bed, and they're going to feed on whatever they can find. So it's really important to keep things nice and clean here.
We've actually had some mice issues.
Remember, these aren't just pesky pests. These are pests that can spread disease. A lot of people get sick every year due to foodborne illness, and many times it can be attributed to pests. All right, we know that the mouse is coming up right above here. And we know that there's going to be open space for them to run in here. And we know that it's running this way, so let's go in here, because this is the furnace room, it's the hot water heater, and sometimes there are lots of nooks and crannies, so let's check it out.
Okay.
This is an outside wall here. We know that the mice are going to come in from the outside. If they would get in here, they'd be able to run right along these pipes here, and they love to run on top of pipes. They love to follow those straight lines. They can feel their way along there. And they probably did hit that soffit. They turned left, found that exit hole upstairs right behind your television. That's how they got in.
So you think this is the source where they're coming in
I think this
from?
is the source. I don't see any droppings here right now. But before the cold weather starts setting in, I probably would suggest that you inspect it, seal off any holes that might be exposed to the outside. Remember, if you can put a pencil through it, a mouse can get through it.
Okay, good to know.
Now, so many times we have physical ways a pest can get in. A torn screen, open window, open door. And here we have a crack in the foundation. You can easily get ants through here. And I do know that this is a finished basement. We're not going to be able to see this concrete on the other side of this wall. So we don't know how deep that crack goes. And this can create a conduit for ants to get through. Whenever you see an opening like that, you want to try to get it sealed up. There's a dryer vent right here, and what you want to do is make sure that dryer vent is able to stay open so that you have a good flow of air in there, because you don't want it backing up inside the house. Now, we all know that lint is something that builds up in the dryer vents, and there's a little flap in there to keep animals out. Right now that flap is open because lint is built up and it's stuck open. And so one of the things you might want to think about is removing this and just replacing it. It's very inexpensive. You just replace this piece right here, has a new flap on it, and make sure that it stays closed. Now, every so often, every couple months, just come out and make sure that flap is tight against there. Otherwise, you will have
more pesky birds in there.
Birds, but you could also have mice get inside. That's very common as well. Oh, I see you have a wood pile.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, actually. We used to have the wood pile closer to the house. It was on the patio.
Oh,
and we thought that might be a problem for pests, so we moved it way back here onto the outside of the property.
Great move, great move. We always suggest that you keep wood piles at least 10 feet away from a house, but bringing it out here is even better. We know that termites, for example, can cause $5 billion worth of damage every year.
Wow, I didn't
Property
know that.
damage. Yeah, it's just
I bet most people don't
damage.
know that either.
They don't. It can be a haven for wildlife. It can be a haven for rodents. And we know that many pests spread disease, and we have to be careful about that. So if you're encouraging a rodent infestation by having a wood pile too close to your house, you could be affected by the health consequences of these things.
I guess we were lucky this time.
Good job.
Thank you. Greg, thank you so much for coming to my house. It's been a pleasure meeting you, and I've really learned a lot of things today.
Well, it's been our pleasure. It's been a lot of fun. Today you learned about integrated pest management, or IPM, the steps, how important it is to decide what level of pest pressure is acceptable, what you can do to prevent them, how to control them. But what can you do to prevent pests in 3 simple things? What do pests need?
Food, water, and a place to live.
Excellent, excellent. So, Linda, tonight at dinner, what are you and your family going to be talking about?
Well, now that I have so much information, I'll be more than happy to share it with my family and friends. Greg, thank you for debugging my house.
That's the most important thing.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Take care.
All right, see you.
Bye-bye.